All right, we are back on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. How is everybody doing this evening? We have a couple of games going on. Oh, you don't need that happening. A couple of games going on. We have Syracuse Coral Gate, as Houston just takes it in for another score. That's also a major issue. Deion Sanders in Colorado down 10-0. I am kind of not shocked by this. I think that's why coming into it, Houston was a 4-point favorite, to be honest. That's kind of where they have settled in this. I think that there's not a whole lot going on in the wide world, but they're going to review this. Yeah, that's interesting. I find that very fascinating that they're going to review this play, but that's very interesting to say the least. Try to get that to work correctly this evening. Just nothing out there. But I don't see how he's not in, but I don't know why they would be doing that, to say the least, but very, very fascinating on, unless he's down right there, but I don't know. Are you getting real definitive evidence against him to overturn it? That is the question. Also, the phone lines are open if you want to call in. We're just kind of doing this mellow thing on Friday night. I guess they did keep it a touchdown. Colorado down 10. I just don't know on a Friday night how they did not think Houston was going to come ready to play. That's kind of what I'm thinking in the back of my mind. I don't know how they did not think that they were not going to be coming ready to play. That's just pretty much where I'm at with it, but just looking at some things here. But I guess we can get into some of the show, some of the notes that I had taken today. Florida's next 6 opponents are LSU, Miami, Texas, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Georgia. That is not a fun time for Billy and the folks down there in Gainesville. I think that's interesting, as Colorado's going to get it moving and a grooving, but that's kind of where we're at for this evening. But yes, the phone lines are open. A lot of corners open at the stadium in Houston down there. I thought this was going to be the most packed it's ever been. There can't be quite possibly open seats in Houston for Coach Prime. That would never happen, right? But yeah, those are Florida's next 6 opponents. Flag on the play. What do we have? False start or delay a game? Yep, delay a game off of a kickoff. This is not going well. I just don't know how do you have that in. How do you have a delay a game coming off a kickoff? Sawyer sacked. Yeah. Ooh, that is not a good sack to take right there. But yeah, what is everybody doing on this Friday night? I just checking it out here. Nothing really too extreme going on. Anything positive play. Looking at this last night at the Wake Forest NC State game, Wake Forest, um, Wake Forest, a food truck catches on fire. Find that very fascinating to say the least. They end up having a food truck fire, and it ends up fogging out entire the entire side of the end zone. But yeah, we're just keeping it pretty cool this evening. Robinson going up, and throwing it out of bounds. Also live on TikTok. What's up, everybody on TikTok? And a lot of stuff being talked. 4th and 6. What are you doing, Prime? What are you doing? Kenneth, because they're erasing him. 8-year winning streak. Yep. 8-year winning streak. Does it continue? That is the big thing on the Georgia side of it. Do they continue to beat Tennessee? That is the question to be asked. But Indiana is absolutely mauling Indiana State. I don't think anybody cares about that. Coral Gate is getting absolutely mauled by Syracuse. The Colorado defense is back on the field. As I'm watching this in real time, I find it very fascinating. But also the call-in number is 260-255-4069 if you want to get on air. If you have a phone call you would like to make and talk any football at all, it's open, NFL or college. If you would like to get on the air, that's what it is. So, but nothing really cracking. I get it. It's Friday night. Trying to get that done. I think it could be a real problem if Houston goes down and scores a touchdown. I think a field goal they're okay, but a touchdown, 17-point deficit in the first quarter. I think that as long as Colorado stays out of the big play here, they should be okay. They gotta get a stop here. This is a crucial 3rd down. Houston in the all red, the traditional as I would call it. They should have wore Love You Blue for this one, in my opinion. I would have thought that they would have wore Love You Blue, but being how it's a national televised game. Ooh, just right over the middle. I'm going to assume they're going to call pass interference on that because it looks like one of Houston's receivers completely depleted one of the Colorado DBs. I think that's coming back, to be honest. Uh-oh. They called pass interference on that. Wow. Go Dogs. Is anybody watching this? They called that pass interference. Oh God. The Big 12 officiating sucks. I mean, the Big 12 officiating crews suck bad. Where are they getting these guys? The Mountain West? That is not pass interference. It's a pick play. He didn't even really impede him. The only thing he did was stick his elbow up. I mean, just the officiating is so bad in college football. It's just an absolute joke. Thank God that they're going to review this. Yeah. Oh, man. I don't think they're going to call this pass interference. I don't know how you can call that pass interference. It's just bizarre. And I think because of all the stuff that the Big 12 got that the Big 12 has been getting because of this, I think they're definitely going to. I think they're going to overturn this on the field. There's no way. I don't think they would be reviewing it if it's pass interference. Just my opinion. Just because that guy fell down and was not where he was supposed to be. I just think that is bizarre. I don't. Looking at the command center. Hopefully they get this. What's the call? Is the big thing. That is the big determining factor. Because there was no pass interference. That's the whole rub. It's not. Duh. There's no pass interference behind the line of scrimmage. And I think that's what Houston was arguing. And I think that that's very fascinating that it comes up like that. But, Matt Austin, rules analyst, is explaining it to everybody. But I don't know if we've turned this into a watch party or what this is. But like I said, the phone number is 260-255-4069 if you want to get on air. Austin Eckler tore his Achilles the other night. He's donezo. I would say that's probably a career ender, if I had to say the least. That was bad news for the Colorado defense, and they are not tackling. Yikes. Houston is marching it down the field. They're just getting blown up on defense. Rough night for the Buffaloes, I will say. Rough night so far. I mean, they could always change it, but very interesting to say the least. But yeah, we'll keep this open until about 9:00 this evening, and we'll shut it down and we'll get ready to hit it hard on Saturday. We're going to have 3 live streams on Saturday. We are definitely going to have the Wisconsin-Alabama game starting at noon. We are going to have, that is going to be the first stream or watch party, whatever you want to call it. Hey, finally a stop in the backfield for Colorado. You guys put your roller skates up. So there's that. And then we're going to transition into Georgia, Tennessee, and then for the night game, we're going to go Notre Dame, Texas A&M. But of course, LSU and Florida is going to be on the TV screen, and I think I will leave the phone lines open the majority of the day. I think into the first quarter, we're going to hear what Deion Sanders has to say. I'm sure it's going to be real profound. We got to stop him. What is that? Why does it do that? I would like to know why it does that. Anytime I pull my phone down to send a text message, it just wants to close it out. That is very bizarre, to say the least. But yes, the phone lines are open. 260-255-4069, the number to call. We're going to leave it open for a little while longer, and then we will shut it down and get ready for Saturday. Let everybody enjoy the football evening. A very interesting note here. Saturday Down South posted this, and I don't know who the guy was that technically reported it. It says our insider, one name is clear on the list if Napier does not make it to the end of the season. They are saying that it's going to be Brett Key. I don't know if I agree with that. Brett Key being the head coach at the University of Florida. I get it. He was at Central Florida for years, and then he went to Alabama and then to Georgia Tech with when Jeff Collins got that job, and then he ends up taking over his alma mater, Georgia Tech. I think if I am a person of interest in the Florida athletic department, if I could be the guy that says, if I can be the common sense guy in the room. Yep, go Dogs. Oh, what's up, Joe? Good to see you, brother. Also, Joe, the phone line is open. 260-255-4069 if you want to get on air and ask some questions. But they are saying Brett Key is possibly the replacement for Billy Napier. I think if I'm the Florida hand raise guy, or I hate to say that word, hand raise guy, but that's stealing. But if you're the Florida common sense guy in the room, are you watching Houston, Colorado? Absolutely, Joe. I got 3 games on right now. I got Indiana State, Coral Gate, Syracuse, and Colorado, Houston. Houston has got him on the ropes early. But if I'm the guy that could have an objection there, I don't think you can sell Brett Key to the fan base. I just don't. I'm not going to say that his tenure is bad at Georgia Tech, but the tenure is not overwhelming in the ACC. But also, if I'm Brett Key, I think I stay at Georgia Tech because they have money. And they do have money to spend. You have a relatively very nice campus to sell. You're selling Atlanta. You're selling Northern Georgia. I think that is something to sell there instead of Gainesville, where they fired Dan Mullen after going 34-15. Billy Napier is 20-20. I get it. The McElwain thing did not work out. That's fair. I'll give you the McElwain didn't work out. But they were going to fire Urban Meyer. I mean, I know a lot of people would vehemently disagree with me on that, but they were definitely going to fire Urban Meyer at Florida. How do you think his heart ailment came up? Do you think he was working any less at Ohio State? No. Than what he was at Florida? No. He knew he was going to get fired. That's what it came down to, and Urban's ego couldn't take him getting fired. I know some people will vehemently disagree and say, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. But I'm just telling you, people don't quit and then take a year off and then all of a sudden they're healed. Jesus of Nazareth comes down and heals them. I'm just not buying it with the dollar. Joe Long says, wow, I just turned to the Indiana State game, 6 to run it up. Oh yeah, he's definitely going to run it up. And Joe, you probably know this, but the head coach at Indiana State is Bill Mallory's son. Indiana's winningest head coach. So that's just some fun food for thought there. Houston kicking a field goal, goes up 13. I think if Houston really wanted to put a death shot into them, they could have scored a touchdown on that drive. That's just something to go on there. There goes Indiana. There goes that man just running by all the guys at Indiana State because Indiana just has better athletes. Omar Cooper Jr. touchdown. Good day, sir. That's kind of where we're at right now. Didn't know. Yeah. Also, Joe, if you want to call in and get on the air, I have the phone lines open. The number is 260-255-4069. Dial it up and tell me what you got to say. So there's that. And I know probably some people are murphed on the LSU stuff that I have on tonight, but somebody bought me a really nice Tommy Bahama 3/4, so I had to wear it and also buy a hat that matches. Got to be matching. I think people who mismatch are just very odd people. Sometimes you don't want to do business with them. But yeah, so that's where we're at. We'll keep the phone lines open for about another half hour before we start wrapping this thing up. Appreciate everybody in the stream. Appreciate Joe. Appreciate everybody watching on TikTok. Also, the people on TikTok, if you come on over to the YouTube channel, the link is in the bio. If you come on over to YouTube and hit that like and subscribe button, we have content 6 days a week. We're not able to go 7 days a week yet, but we are getting there. My two co-hosts are out, but they will be coming back. Hold on. We got a phone call. Hello, caller. Can you hear me?
Hey, how you doing, Duke?
Oh, is this Joe?
It is.
Hey, Joe, what's going on, brother?
Hey, I'm just calling to keep you a little company. I'll watch the game with you if you want. Point out some shit.
Oh yeah, I got all that stuff going on right now. Just making sure my audio and stuff is good, but appreciate you calling in. So what's on your mind?
Well, I'm just getting ready for a couple of good games, I guess, tomorrow. That Georgia-Tennessee will be good, and of course my Irish against A&M should be good.
I think for the most part, I think tomorrow is going to be a sneaky good weekend because while we got some time here, Joe, and I appreciate you sticking with us through the hard times we've had, trying to keep the show on the tracks and
sure thing,
keeping it going. But as I pull up the slate of games, even though we have some more games going on tonight, but I think a sneaky good game is going to be Georgia Tech Clemson. What say you on that?
I was going to say that. I was going to put that out, but I figured you're going to get to it, so I'll let you say it.
Yeah, so
but yes, sir.
I think
that's a good one.
I think that is a better game than what people want to put out there. But I think definitely Clemson, Georgia Tech, that is something I have circled in the noon hour. And then as I get down, obviously the 3:30 game is the Georgia, Tennessee, Georgia 8-game winning streak against Tennessee. I think if this is the year that Kirby can get him or Heupel can get him, it's this year, and I think it can change it could definitely turn the tide. I'm taping
about 10 games so far, but also South Florida, you got to see what they got against Miami, right?
Yes, and I think if South Florida comes out of the gate and they will and they come out like they did against Florida and refuse to be bullied, and they come out and
Right.
they are just flying around hitting people just like they were at the in the Florida game. I give them a shot. Vegas isn't giving them a shot. That number has stayed at 17.5 all week. I think it's a trap. I don't think Miami can win the game than win the game more by I can't get my words out to enunciate, but I don't think that they can cover 17.5. I think South Florida covers that number going away, though.
Well, I tell you, how can you doubt it at this point? Because they opened up with Boise State and they crushed them 34-7, right?
Right. So
and then they come out against Florida and they give it blow by blow. It was almost like Notre Dame, Penn State. It was like they were going back and forth at each other, hammering each other.
Right. And
Florida didn't give in. It was just that Florida, I think South Florida wanted it more.
Oh, and I think one of the other aspects of it too is as I went back and watched that game, I think that we had a case on the Florida side of things that they did not how do I want to say this? They did not execute very well.
Yeah. Well, I must say though, South Florida got some pretty good penalties when they needed them. Like that guy spitting on him was an idiot.
Oh yeah.
But aside from that, they got some pretty good calls, to make it close. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it gets called against Miami, but because it's in Miami, isn't it?
Yeah. South Florida goes on the road, and I think this South Florida game, because let's say South Florida comes out and wins this game, is South Florida a top 10 team?
I was gonna say, like when I was in a different chat last night, I put it out there. Would that get them into the top 15? But top 10, depending on what everyone else does, it's possible.
And
definitely top 15.
Here's a sneaky good thing that I don't think a lot of people are going to talk about. But let's just say, in a fantasy world, LSU loses to Florida. What do you think? I'm just throwing it out there. If LSU loses to Florida, does that mean Florida is back and South Florida is way better than what people think they are, and they beat Miami?
Oh yeah, for sure. If they beat Miami. But I'll tell you what, I've been watching Alex Golesh now for the last 2 years, and he is one of my favorite coaches out there. I mean, I don't know if there's anyone better. Like Freeman's pretty good, but Alex Golesh has been getting these guys. He must be a great motivator, and he must have a really good way to connect with his team, because they are responding to him.
One thing I was going to say about South Florida that I don't think is going to get enough credit, enough pub, is I feel like they're a united team, and I feel like that's kind of how, like, if you look back at Notre Dame's playoff run last year at the end of the year, how they were just a tight-knit, motivated team.
Right.
And you can look at other teams throughout the year. Florida at the end of the year, when a lot of that stuff was going on with whether Billy Napier was going to get fired or not. I think that they put it together and they bonded together. They responded to their head coach, and I think that's something that's going on in South Florida. And I think if they go out and they beat Miami, I don't know how they're not a top 10 team.
No, if they beat Miami at Miami, and then they beat Florida, and then they crush Boise State, it's a hard argument not to keep them out of the top 10 at 10. No, nothing higher, but to make it to 10, I think would be a fair thing for them.
Because
absolutely, I mean, yeah.
Because when I look at it, they had one ranked opponent at home that they won, and then they went on to 2 Power 4 teams on the road where they would be more than double-digit underdogs that they come and win outright.
Right, and the Miami is what, 5 right now? So I mean, you beat the 5th ranked team, you accomplish something.
Yeah, because as I pull up the college football the AP poll, which I get it, there was a lot of traction about that going on this week, which was unbelievable. I look at that and I think that
what do you mean the traction? What
the
do you mean?
they started releasing and focusing in on some people's ballots on the AP poll. You had that lady come out that pretty much gave a very bizarre answer on why she was ranking teams where she was. Basically, it completely undermined the AP poll process. And
well, what's the top? Do you have that available? The top 10?
Yeah, the top
that they put out.
The top 10 right now in the AP poll is Ohio State, Penn State, LSU, Oregon, Miami, Georgia, Texas, Notre Dame, Illinois, Florida State.
Wow, Illinois is at the 9, huh?
Yeah, I don't see how they're not. They got Luke Altmaier. They play really good defense. As long as they don't turn it over, we're going to find a lot out about Illinois going forward because they have Ohio State coming to town.
Yeah, but Bielema's a good coach. That guy, he didn't get a lot of respect over at Arkansas. I guess he ran into a little bit of controversies. I don't know what his whole deal was, but for a while there, he was like on the outs of coaches. And then all of a sudden he comes into Chicago and it's like, man, he's proven that it wasn't a fluke what he did, what he's been able to do.
Oh, I think I think whenever you have Champagne's a tough place to recruit, but also I think that one of the bigger things that comes into this is when it comes down to why the Big Ten has an edge over the ACC and Big 12 is they have money, they have resources.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In Illinois, I don't know if you've seen it this week. I can't quite remember the guy's name, Joe, but the guy, there is a guy that gave Illinois a $100 million gift.
Wow! So holy crow!
So
well, I'll tell you what, Illinois is one of those schools that are like highly academic motivated, So I like that about them. Just because I'm a Notre Dame fan, and I actually have respect for Clemson too, because they play academics up, in their recruiting too, and they should.
And I think as long as the academics doesn't get lost in it, I get it. This isn't 1980 recruiting. It's pretty much all about how much are you going to pay me, and I know that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. It's all about dollars and bills. But I think that
well,
one of the
what, Duke?
Go ahead, Joe.
I'm sorry, I interrupted. I was going to say one of the things is that all these Big Ten and SEC schools, they've been paying under the table Ohio State for years and decades. And now it's like all of a sudden it's over the table and you have a guy that can come in from Illinois and just give $100 million. It's like, okay, I guess we're seeing that this is now going to be a little bit more of an even playing field with these other schools,
Also, do you know why Ryan Day is being outspoken on the second transfer window? Just think about this. Because of the SEC's rules about no SEC transferring to SEC in the spring window, because that will big time impact Ohio State's portal usage.
Yeah.
Because everybody will have the same amount of rights to the players.
Well, that's a silly rule that the SEC is like giving themselves a monopoly of saying, you can't go to any. Are they saying you can't go? You can only go to an SEC, or you can't go to an SEC? So
in the spring transfer portal window for the SEC, you cannot transfer SEC to SEC. So you can't go from Florida to LSU in the spring window. You can only do that in the.
So they're really hurting themselves by doing that. They're hurting themselves. That's why Ohio State will be able to get the players in the spring that, if they come up with a big bag, that they'll be able to get that these guys are not allowing themselves to do.
Right.
Right.
And I think
that's what's he complaining about?
Well, Day does not want it to be a one-time transfer window for 10 days. It would open January 2nd and it would close January 12th because he's citing because it would be in the middle of the playoffs.
Yeah, I see that. And he wouldn't have time to dedicate to recruiting.
But my thing is that if whenever you play a playoff game, no one's in school. School's out. The only thing you have to do is football practice. So I just look at that and I think to myself, like, why? And then I sat around and thought about it. It's because whenever they want to do maneuvering in the portal in the second portal window where they picked up a bunch of kids, they can do it because they don't have to compete. If it's an SEC kid, you don't have to compete with another SEC program.
Right.
So
so they can focus more on their championship kind of thing.
Right. And my thing is that it's only out of 134 schools, only 8 of them would be affected. When you think about it.
Yeah, you mean from the SEC?
No, I'm just talking because it would be when the semifinals are, because it would be right after the Rose Bowl in the 12-team playoff. Or it would be 4 schools, sorry. But
well, when did the playoffs start? They started like late December, didn't they, last year?
Yeah, I think the playoffs start this year, December 20th. Although I don't know how you feel about this. This is a little bit of a side topic, Joe. But would you be okay if they moved the college football season up 3 weeks and ended the?
You mean in the beginning of August to start it?
Yes, the beginning of August, and you could pretty much have the playoffs and end it, and you end the season New Year's Day with the Rose Bowl. Everybody loves the Rose Bowl. I think.
It would be good for us fans, I think. But in terms of if you have your graduation happening in May, and then June you'll have a month off basically, and then July you'll have to have your summer workout to get ready for early August season, right? Because so I mean, you're really talking about 11 out of 12, but these kids are getting paid now,
right?
So there is that, yeah.
And if they don't like what's happening at one school, they'll have a one-time window. And then I think that if you get the season over January 1st, you can open the transfer window before everybody starts the spring semester, and you can get your rosters finalized, and you have your entire roster going all the way into next January. So July, it would be year by year, in my opinion.
Yeah. You mean year by year being that you keep in the same rules?
Yeah, you keep the same rules. The transfer portal would open in January after the season. 10 days. It lets everybody transfer whatever they want to do. It lets it get settled. So whenever you start, which I think they should just have the OTA model like the NFL does before they start camp, have a little, the 9-practice OTA, which would be 2 weeks like the NFL does. And then it goes directly into fall camp that would start in July.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're taxing a younger man's body a little bit more because they're not although it's hard to say that nowadays, but you're still growing into your body. By the time you're 25, you've pretty much become the man you are going to be. And these kids are going to be taking on a full 11 out of 12 months, football. Pretty much, unless they stop the spring games and spring practices in order to accommodate the 3 weeks earlier and give them a little extra time away.
Right.
I think time away is a little bit important too.
I'm saying adopt the NFL model to where the OTAs are just shoulder pads and lids, and scrap the whole spring football model, because it doesn't really do anything for anybody. I don't
No.
think. I mean, it helps guys get better. It does a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But at the
Well, it
end of
helps
the
the
day,
coaches
the
to see
last
what they have.
yeah,
It helps the coaches to see what they have early, and see how kids are progressing and maturing, and and what other kids are doing outside of it. Like, they're looking at those other teams now a lot closer. Like, all of a sudden, scouts are really important, because if they know there's kids that are on some team like Ohio State and they're third string at this point, maybe they can have a little bit of a bag to say, hey, if you want to get on the field, come check us out.
right. And also, a lot of people demonize the transfer portal. I think it's very fascinating because I've heard of instances where there'll be somebody that will get a kid, they'll recruit them, and then they'll realize instead of being here at Arizona State, how about you go to Northern Arizona where you're going to play and get reps, and then we'll talk to you. What's
Right.
wrong with that? I don't think there's anything
Nothing.
wrong with that.
I don't either. No, that's a good point.
A little program update. The Colorado Buffaloes are on the board.
Oh, I've not been watching. I'm out in my kitchen having a smoke.
Oh yeah.
What happened? Oh no, I see 13-0.
Well, Colorado broke a looked to be about a 50-yard run.
Okay, so I'm behind.
As I'm checking the scores right now, Indiana 59, Indiana State 0. I don't think there's a shock there.
Is that the half or what?
No, it's midway through the third quarter, 5 minutes left in the third quarter. It looks like Indiana's going to cover because I'm sure Cignetti is not going to give up a garbage time touchdown. Also, Joe, circling back to the Big Ten while I have you here, what are your thoughts on the Oregon Northwestern game? As somebody that watches, a lot of Midwest football, you would argue that when it was Ryan Field, Northwestern would keep the grass high in those sleepy, windy
Notre Dame did
games.
That.
those sleepy,
Notre
windy
Dame
noon
did that
games.
for USC all the time.
Oh, yeah. But those sleepy noon games in Evanston midway through the year can sneak up and get you, right?
Sure.
So
it's a pretty tall order, though. I mean, Northwestern's another one of those academic schools, and really good. And if they have some kind of donors now that are willing to pony up to see their team be a little better, I think that would be good for them to survive in the Big Ten because, as it stands now, what was that, 20-something million for Ohio State? Oh, there's that burst here. I just saw it. Okay. He looked.
Look, it was a good run.
Yeah.
I think the rev share, but also Northwestern's investing a lot of money into the facilities because they are building a new football building that is, I don't know, like $700 million that they're paying for.
Wow.
But yeah, if you Google that, the Northwestern's field, the renderings of it look like it's going to be a modern, almost like a SoFi Stadium. That's how modern it's going to be.
Well, that's got to help them then because, they need it right now when you're looking at schools that have plenty of donors that are, Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, those guys are all, they got the money, right? So, yeah, because how else has Franklin been able to recruit so well? Like, he's amazing. You never see them win, and you always talk about he can't win these big games, and sure enough, they're recruiting. They finished like top 5 for the last. How many times were they like top 10 anyway for the last 5-10 years, maybe?
I mean, Penn State, for all intents and purposes, the whole James Franklin thing is not as bizarre as what people think it is.
Yeah. No, they rag on him.
He just cannot win a big game, but the thing of it is that I don't know if you've ever been up to Penn State. I mean, the campus itself is to be desired. It's in the middle of a cow town in the middle of nowhere. In the middle of northern Pennsylvania, nowhere. I mean, it's just like It's just like driving up to North Jersey, Joe. There's nothing up there.
Wait a minute. That's where I'm from.
So,
They have New York. New York's like 15 minutes away from North Jersey.
but I'm just messing with you on that. But speaking of the North Jersey, what are you hearing since you're out that way? What are you hearing? Is there a lot of buzz around Boston College and Bill O'Brien?
Well, there's always good, the Northeast, that New Jersey, Connecticut, New York area. Boston College and Notre Dame seems to have some kind of a real connection. And I don't know if it's the religious thing, maybe there's a lot of Catholics in northern New Jersey, but they have a pretty good pipeline between the two places. And Bill O'Brien, they have a pretty good Irish Italian kind of a thing. So you might be seeing that kind of a reaction of kids wanting to play for those kind of teams, and maybe even Signetti being Italian, he might start to get some North Jersey kids too. I'm not, the mafia's there, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I look at that and I think that it's very fascinating. Bill O'Brien he left the offensive coordinator job at Ohio State, and then he goes to Boston College, which I know it was ideal for his family. If you know anything about his story, it's absolutely just an interesting story on how he is a full-time football coach and everything going on in his life. I was actually legitimately happy that Boston College picked up the phone and called him, because it was perfect with all the things that have gone on in his life. I especially from him being there. I know it sounds like a big old Bill O'Brien sob fest, but I think Billy.
No, really, he was ready to be a head coach. Like he's proven. I wouldn't be surprised if the New York Giants, start knocking on his door pretty soon. Like if things don't work out with what's that guy's name? Daboll, yeah. If things don't work out there, they just might call on him, just like they did that previous coach.
Tom Coughlin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess now looking at revisionist history, Tom Coughlin was the head coach at Boston College. I forgot about that, because he was there with Flutie. And that was back when BC was really, really good.
They were not to be taken lightly by anybody. Yeah.
And that's almost that old school, which you'll know, Joe, the old school Big East football.
Right.
And
right.
One of the other things I was going to ask you about was,
I think Miami was in that Big East, weren't they?
It was Miami. Miami was in there. I believe Virginia Tech was in the old Big East.
Yeah.
That was South Florida, UConn. I mean, at one point, Randy Edsel had it rolling up there.
Was Florida State in there too?
No, Florida State's always been in the ACC.
Okay.
But here's my thing that I find interesting. I think if the Big Ten expands, I think they take Syracuse and BC. You mean if that's the end of the ACC? Yeah, if they want to take Syracuse and BC, because here's what I think is going to happen. I think the Big Ten will take Syracuse, BC. I think the SEC will take
Florida State, Miami.
I think they'll take not the SEC taking Florida State.
Tech.
Disciple.
Right?
Oh no.
Georgia Tech. They'll take Georgia Tech.
I don't know if they'll take Georgia Tech, because Georgia Tech left the SEC a long time ago, and there's a lot of bad feelings there. Hold on.
Is that right?
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Hey, Disciple, I got a Tommy Bahama 3/4 zip somebody got for me, but yeah, you'll have to check us out on Saturday, my guy, because we do have the phone lines open. We got Joe on the line right now. But anyway, Joe,
yeah, somebody call in. Give some support to this guy. You're good, Duke. I'm just surprised Carter's been. He must be a man about his house, having to raise kids or something, because I thought we'd hear more from him.
Carter's he's got a lot of things going on, but he is going to be back. It's just that one of the other things is that Richie Carter, kids. I think Richie bought a new house. It's what between the three
Everyone's
of us.
got
Between the three of us, we
life
have
going on.
Oh yeah, we have 6 kids all under the age of 8 that have
Oh, geez. Yeah.
extracurriculars, the everything, and I'm the only one with the work schedule that can fit the podcast in at the moment.
Yeah. Well, you're a grinder. There's no doubt about it. You've been steady. That's why I like to come in there and support you, because you're a grinder, buddy.
Yeah, I've been trying to. I haven't been always consistent. Like tonight, we got a late start. It's just been hit or miss when you're a one man band. It is it is a pretty big undertaking.
Helps to have Mm-hmm.
But we got
to have somebody else, start stimulating some thoughts.
Yeah, that's why we decided to roll with the call-in show, because it helps out a lot, to get through the hour.
Yeah.
And as I'm watching this game right now, Houston is driving towards the red zone. They are facing a 3rd and 13, 2 minutes to go. I think they're going to take this down to the 2-minute timeout, but
well, that wasn't a very good play, what I just saw.
Yeah, but they end up taking it to the 2-minute timeout. But yeah, I guess
I think I'm on a little bit of a delay to you too.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube TV, and then I went and I for TV3, because none of the streaming apps that I have allow me to get the CW, and so I had to order. I was using a makeshift antenna, and then mine finally came today. I had to get that set up, but
yeah.
But
well, that's good then, because CW is what's carrying the South Florida Miami game tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, and it comes on at 4:30. But for a lot of people that are saying this is kind of a sleepy weekend, I could give you 3 games, and we'll run through this real quick, and then we'll then we could take it from there and probably wrap.
Go ahead.
I also have to work tonight, but oh yeah, fun times. I was going to throw this one out there. What do you make of Arkansas Ole Miss?
That's going to be a good game. Another one. I mean, you're right. This is a sneaky good Saturday coming up. There's, in terms of like getting to a conference championship or maybe playoffs, that those two teams probably won't be there. But then again, they're pretty evenly matched, so it's going to make it for a good game.
Well, because the reason why I bring up that matchup is because some of the Ole Miss folks, everything that I've read about that, you cannot get a straight answer out of anybody on the injury report, and this is just my opinion. And it's really bad in the SEC and the Big Ten. I think at some point, if you really, really want to get the injury report thing figured out, just start finding coaches a progressive $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah. NFL's the same way. They don't like to disclose anything unless they absolutely have to. If it's part of the rules by the day before the game where they have to talk about it, or I don't even know what those rules are anymore with the NFL, but
well,
they used to have an injury list where they'd have to report it like the day after the last game.
Well, the NFL has these they have strict rules about the injury report, and the reason why they have the strict rules about the injury report is because they take money from gambling outfits. the DraftKings, the FanDuel, the Caesars. And I think as long as college football schools are going to start displaying Caesars in the end zone or putting FanDuel stuff around the stadium, they're gonna come up and say, "Hey, you guys better get this injury thing figured out." And then another game, because I don't know if Austin Simmons is healthy or not. He looked like he got his leg amputated on Saturday at Kentucky, but nobody.
Well, if that's the case, he probably won't be ready.
But he goes out
he
there.
Got that battered.
I don't know. It's going to depend on if he starts or not. That's a bad penalty on Colorado. You'll see that one coming up, Joe. But also another sneaky good game, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and I think Vanderbilt wins this outright.
Yeah, I was picking them too. I'm just not a fan of Beamer. You know, that guy is another one like Franklin, where you look to him during big games and you don't see it. You know, and he's still making like stupid mistakes as a coach. You know, and so to me, it's like he's nowhere near what his father was. His father was actually a pretty good coach there at Virginia Tech, right?
Yeah. Frank had a unique style of doing it. I think Shane's just got to get it out there. I don't think it helps that you've got the Lenora Sellers thing, which is I'm not going to call it bizarre, but it's really tough because he's a dynamic football player. He just does not do things that help everything going forward.
Then that means he's not being developed. That means he's not getting developed correctly. Because if he's got the talent, he's got the name.
I think that South Carolina, what they really need is like a overhauled defensive coordinator. Or not a defensive coordinator, offensive guy, like a Dana Holgerson, like they got at Nebraska.
That'd be good.
Somebody that can come in there and just run the offense.
Yeah.
And Beamer can be focused on not trying to run the offense, watch the defense. And I think that's one of the things that helped Ryan Day down the stretch last year. But
well, you know what's scaring me now about Notre Dame A&M is I heard that last week, or I think it was maybe even the first game for them, that Elko started taking over the play calling for the defense. Did you hear that?
Oh yeah.
So that's a pretty scary thing for Notre Dame, because for one thing, he used to coach at Notre Dame, but that's a whole new team now. But then again, he's pretty familiar, you know, playing them last year, and now he's calling defenses. And when he was at Duke, he was calling them pretty well against Notre Dame. Like, it wasn't an easy task for Notre Dame against him there. So I mean, it worries me that he's calling the defense.
I think the biggest takeaway for me, and we'll end it here, Joe. One of the biggest takeaways for me is, I would say, keeping Marcel Reed in the pocket. That is the big thing, because if you let him get out there on the edge and run the ball, or get outside the pocket and make plays, he is hell on wheels.
Yes, I see that. Yeah. But then again, it was like, let's see what the talent level was that he was doing that too. So, you know, Notre Dame, to me, they looked sluggish. They didn't look like they wanted to play. They didn't come out motivated or with tenacity like they have done, like, for most of Freeman's career. So, I mean, that's what I have to see coming out this game tomorrow, is how they come out to play. If they're not ready again, it's going to be a long season for Notre Dame. Like, you know, possibly 4 losses, because I think it might get in their head starting at 0-2. So, you know, because USC is a lot better than I think people think they are. And who else do they got on that?
I don't like going to Boston College at the end of the year. That screams trap game.
Well, I just got done watching that quarterback for them. They lost, I guess, in overtime, 2 overtimes.
Yeah.
But still, you know, like, they weren't stopping him.
No.
By any stretch. What was that guy's name? Maloney or something?
Yeah, I think that's his name. One of the last things, I promise this will be one of the last things. The big thing that was alarming for me when it came to Notre Dame Miami was on the defensive line, how Miami bullied them up front all night.
Yeah.
Just the extra shoving. The Mario went out and bought him an offensive line. You can't deny that.
Right.
But I would have thought it would have been a little bit better showing from the defensive line.
Well, the thing I saw out of that was there's only really two guys that came to play, and that secondary for Notre Dame looked atrocious.
Yeah.
And they didn't look like Xavier Watts was the guy that really must have held the glue together last year, because Adon Schuler doesn't look like the guy that can step up like he was.
Right.
So, but I thought Gabriel Rubio, the Notre Dame defensive lineman, nose tackle, and played a little bit on the other side in the 3-point. And I thought he was good, and I thought that guy Stroman, who they got from Virginia Tech, was very good.
Yeah.
But that was it. Like, I didn't see anybody else on defense play well. It's just two guys.
Right.
So, anyway.
But I guess while I got you on here, Joe, I will end the show. I appreciate you calling in, Joe, donating your time. We're on the road to get to 500 subscribers. I appreciate you, Joe, and we will talk to you later. All right, brother?
Okay, and all you guys on X or whatever that is, that other station, come on over to YouTube and show some support with some thumbs up for Duke, because he works hard for it. All right, and that's all I got.
All right, appreciate you, Joe.
All right, buddy.
Yep. Bye.
Take care.
All right, Joe calls in. One of the first callers on the show. Appreciate Joe. He's been with us for a long time, so I gave him a long forum. Appreciate him. He's been watching us ever since the beginning of last year, since we started the show when it was just me and Carter. So appreciate him. I'm going to put out the viewing schedule is Alabama, Wisconsin is going to be at noon. Then we are going to jump to Tennessee, Georgia, and then we're going to have Notre Dame, A&M. Don't worry, I'm also going to have LSU and Florida on. And then depending on how it goes, we are going to have a call-in show. It doesn't matter what team's on the thumbnail, but we're having a call-in show. I appreciate everybody who tuned in tonight, especially Joe for calling in. Hit that like and subscribe button. Help us grow this thing. We will be back with you live tomorrow, probably at 11:50. I appreciate everybody. Enjoy your Friday night. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. And have a good weekend. And let's watch some football this weekend.